Good afternoon to everybody, wherever you are watching this live broadcast, sharing some creative ideas on how to use Tjhoko Paint. In today's feature, we will be focusing on how to create a lovely menu board with a week's menu planned, pre-planned and ready for you to be creative in your kitchen as well. This is something that in the Vosloo residence barely happens due to everything that happens in our life. So I thought if I could plan my weekly menu in my kitchen and in my life better, this would be something that would actually organize my own life so much more. I'm going to start with some ideas, and also during this session I will be sharing ideas that you can also apply to other surfaces, whether it's a larger item you're painting, a larger furniture piece you want to refurbish or upcycle. And the purpose of today is also to show how easy it is to upcycle, recycle and reuse items to be kind to nature. Seeing that Tjhoko Paint is a water-based, eco-friendly product, this is something that you will just love and enjoy with me. So sit back, relax. It's Thursday. The end of the week is crawling closer, and enjoy this session with me. Now, the first step, we are working on raw timber boards. You can inquire from your nearest Tjhoko stockist, or you can see on our website. So it's repurposed pallet wood, raw timber. And the first step we are going to do is we are going to use an old rag, mutton cloth, a microfiber cloth, an old t-shirt, any old rag you have. I've dampened it with water and I've squeezed out excess moisture. And the first product I'm going to use is Tjhoko Paint's Antique Brown Glaze. Now, the glazes are pure acrylic sealants. The Antique Brown Glaze is exactly what it says. It's antique brown, and you can also use it with there is a video on our YouTube channel. And if you are also watching this on the YouTube channel, please subscribe, follow and like so that you can see notifications. Turn on your notifications so that you can see when we are posting something new. The Antique Brown Glaze, like the clear glaze, and on our YouTube channel there is a video that shows the various uses with Antique Brown Glaze. Today we are going to focus on how to stain wood with the Antique Brown Glaze. So ask those questions if you have any. I'm not going to stir it. I'm not going to mix anything in it. I'm going to use it as is, because I actually just want to stain my wood. And this is a very blonde finish, a very pale finish, and I want to accentuate all the grooves, crevices, and also the grain on this piece of wood. I take my damp cloth, I dip it, and this is the lovely thing about Tjhoko. We can bend the rules as much as we like. Just make sure your surface is oil-free, grease-free. But raw wood, you can just start having fun. I dip the end of my damp cloth in my glaze, and I simply start wiping my piece of wood. And immediately you can see the subtle change in color. Now, if I decide, or if I feel I need a darker tone on my wood, I will stir my glaze so that the color pigments mix better, and then I will have a darker version. I do want to show you that so that you can see the difference. I'm just going to use the paintbrush, the handle of it, stir it in, take my piece of cloth, and now look, once I've mixed my antique glaze more, and now I start wiping it onto my raw timber surface, the darker color I achieve. It's water-based. Some tip of advice I can offer if you work on a larger wood surface. First, wet the wood with water, and then it actually helps to spread the antique glaze more evenly. On a small creative piece like this, it's not really necessary. Larger surfaces, definitely. You can wet the surface first with some water and then start wiping, and just see how beautiful this looks. And depending on your personal preference, you can decide how dark or how light you want the stain to be. Now, very important, once you have done this, you need to allow it a few minutes to dry before you start applying your masking tape. The masking tape will not be able to remove the glaze due to the fact that the glaze has actually been absorbed into the wood, but the masking tape will not adhere to a damp surface. So I have a board here that I have glazed, more subtle than this one, so you can get different tones. And I'm going to use masking tape. I'm using Hamilton's masking tape, but masking tape that adheres well can be used. And I'm just going to create a border for myself. Now, once again, I'm just sharing some ideas. If you want to actually complete this on the entire board, the Stencil of Paris technique I'm going to do next, you can do it. Or if you want to create a border, you create a border. I'm simply sharing some ideas. And I'm always saying this, you might have easier, better ways of doing things, and just do it and share with us if you have any suggestions. We are always open to learn new things. Never too old to learn. Okay, and then my masking tape is complete. So I've created a border and I'm going to work on the inside of this border. On some of the blocks, I've simply painted the inside with matte black. So here is matte black, and a small pot, 28mm, is more than enough. So there's just matte black and straightforward painting. I'm not going to show you how to paint. You dip a paintbrush in your paint and you simply paint. And I'm removing my masking tape. And so, okay, not on the side where I've just adhered it, on the other side. So here I have just some blocks with just black inside. Tjhoko is also a chalkboard paint. So here you can simply use chalk, and these days you also get chalk pens from P&A or stationery stores, and you can write with your chalkboard pen or chalk on this piece and maybe say, tonight I'm eating at Mom, or tonight is the kids' turn to prepare supper or dinner. On this side, we are going to be creative with Stencil of Paris. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use a paste, and for those of you that already know, I'm sorry that I repeat myself, but I just realized that every week we have new members on our social media pages. Stencil of Paris is a paste that we manufacture that grips onto most surfaces, and it actually gives your stencil work a raised effect. I'm going to use this stencil. It's a Tjhoko stencil, and I'll share some stencil news later as well. Tip of advice to prevent your stencil from moving: just secure it with some masking tape so that once you work with it, that it doesn't start moving and you feel that you've made a mistake. With paint, you can never make mistakes. If you apply the Stencil of Paris to your surface and you feel, I don't like it, or it's smudged, or something moved, simply remove it, put it back, clean your surface with water, make sure it's dry, and just do it again. Sometimes, due to the fact that we in a rush most of the time to get the day's job done, I would notice only once the Stencil of Paris has dried that I have not evened it out the way I want it to. And once it is dry and you want to create more of an even, smooth surface, use a 100 grit piece of sandpaper. And then you simply sand the stencil of Paris to create a very even, smooth, silky finish. I'm using a paint scraper, a palette knife, old credit card, works well. Dip it in the paste. You don't need to dilute it, mix it with anything. The same with Tjhoko. You don't need to add water. And very evenly, I spread it onto my surface. And you can determine how thick you want this application to be. Tip: this is a paste, so it needs cooler temperatures to dry evenly. If you are going to expose this to harsh temperatures, put it in the sun to dry. Like anything else that sets, think even when baking cakes, if it is exposed to too harsh temperatures too soon while the drying process is still happening, hairline cracks will appear. So room temperatures, cool drying will have a very smooth and even drying to the stencil of Paris.
I just want to ask something. Annalise says, do I always need to glaze my wood first before I paint? I've already painted and I've already put 2 coats on.
Okay, so Anna is asking, do I always have to glaze my wood first before I start painting? No, Anna, this is just a tip I'm sharing to change the color of your wood. So if you want to stain your wood with a water-based product and not something with an oil-based, quick and easy way, that's why I first glaze the wood. It's just to create a different look onto it. So this is a creative project. It's something where we change and bend the rules a bit to have fun. Okay, so no, you don't need to glaze the wood. If you are just painting onto it, then you just paint and have fun. So I have spread my stencil of Paris on top of my stencil. I'm now going to remove my masking tape. You don't need to wait for the stencil of Paris to dry. I remove it. I put my stencil in water. There's water next to me. I wash it and I reuse it. And now, while the paste has not set yet, immediately I remove my masking tape as well. Else, if my paste dries on top of my masking tape and I remove then, the pieces that are solid, that touch both the wood and masking tape will be damaged. So while it's still wet, remove. And you allow to dry at room temperature. Even this is beautiful. So if you like neutrals and you just like simplicity, this could have been the final step. Look how beautiful this is. Even as a serving plate, I'm seeing this now. If you have guests over, and we can have family and friends over, now that COVID has settled a bit here by us, you can, I would apply, once the stencil of Paris has dried completely, allow 4 hours, apply a coat of clear glaze just to make sure it is more stain resistant, and then you can have this as a cheese board, or even have coffee and a rusk. How beautiful is this? Instead of porcelain in your kitchen, and you can rinse it under a tap, dry it immediately and reuse. I actually do have round serving plates in my house that I use for that purpose. Okay, for today's step, I'm going to allow this to dry now. And here I have one that has already dried. And now I'm going to remask it. So I'm going to reapply my masking tape. And the reason is I want to paint it a color now. So allow to dry. Once dry, I'm going to reapply my masking tape. I wonder if this is a good time to show the end result now or later. Okay, let me reapply my masking tape before I continue, so that you can see the end result and maybe have a better idea of what we are busy creating. Come take a walk with me. So this typically I will put up on a wall. So here, and I'll show you how to, this is just some wood pieces that alphabet letters that I purchased from P&A, and I've painted them in matte black, used a super glue gun and just sticked them onto this stained wooden surface. So there's a menu board. And then what I've done here is I have a bulldog clip with a recipe. The Vosloo family is going to eat from recipes the week that lies ahead. There is and this I'll show you exactly how to accomplish this look. Monday, this is our recipe for Monday. If you have children in the house and their schedules are hectic, this could even be a way of just scheduling your life to know when there are playing tennis, when there is golf, when there's swimming, when there are exams and tests coming up. So every alternative board was painted. I'm going to take the recipes out so that you can see. So there we have painted, and we've used the color Simon Says and Danny's, no, I'm lying, True Blue. So it's Simon Says and True Blue. And here I could just not, last night when I made these boards, find chalk in my house, believe it or not. But I've printed some inspiration. So Kaylee will be responsible for salad Tuesday evening. And there's Thursday with a recipe. How beautiful. But even as serving boards, as coasters, even as art on a wall. So this I will put up on my wall, and I'll send a picture later once it was done. There is a soup evening. I hope it's called in South Africa next week Friday, so that we can have some soup. And this is our week's menu board, all planned out. I'll be telling you next week Thursday if we could keep to that planning.
We have a question asking, can you mix paint into your stencil of Paris, or do you have to paint it afterwards?
Okay, so the stencil, there's a question. Can I mix Stencil of Paris into my paint, or do I need to paint afterwards? You can do any of the two. On our YouTube channel, there are videos where we have mixed paint colors into the Stencil of Paris. Go look on there to find more inspiration. For today's session, we are painting and sanding. So what I'm going to do next, I am going to, this is my board. My Stencil of Paris has dried. I've reapplied my masking tape, and now I'm going to use the color Simon Says. And I'm going to paint with Simon Says onto my dried Stencil of Paris. I love working with Hamilton's Enzyme brushes. When you purchase a brush, always feel the bristles. The softer the bristles, the better your paint end result will be. But Tjhoko is creamy and smooth. This is a beautiful applicator. So I dip my brush in the paint, make sure my masking tape is secured nicely, and I paint Simon Says on top of my board.
We have a question asking, how would we put this on the wall?
Okay, I'm going to show you once I have completed these steps what I like to use to put my boards on the wall. So we will walk to my bra area, and I'll show you. It's available from my car. I'll show you so that you know exactly how to put it on the wall. So I have painted. It depends on you whether you want to apply a second coat. It also depends on the surface you're painting. I'm quite happy with my first coat. I'm going to remove the masking tape, or you can wait a bit. There are, and I've seen questions, when painting a wall, when will masking tape remove your paint? Either when you don't have the correct, and I'm referring now specifically to walls. Walls, raw plaster needs to be primed. The primer needs to be dry well before you start applying your wall paint onto it. If the paint or the primer has not cured and you remove the masking tape, that can be a reason why the masking tape removes paint. Or if you waited too long for the paint to dry before removing the masking tape, that can also remove paint, because what happens, the paint actually forms a film, especially on a wall surface. Raw timber surfaces, we don't find this problem. but the paint dries as a film on the surface. And the moment you start peeling it, when it has dried and cured, that entire area gets lifted. And that's why it will also happen. So don't wait overnight and then start removing your masking tape. Wait for the paint to be hand dry and remove, especially painting walls and some furniture items as well. Just a tip of advice. Okay, so I'm going to remove my masking tape. I'm going to do it on this one that has dried already. Remove masking tape. And my next step will be to sand. So there are various uses with Stencil of Paris. And there are, as mentioned previously, various videos available on our YouTube channel. This is just one technique we are focusing on today. Next, what I will be doing is I will use sandpaper. This is 100 grit, also Hamilton sandpaper. It, my block. You can sand more, and now after doing this I have some advice. Rather leave your masking tape on before you start sanding, because look there, my sandpaper has touched where I've already sanded, and I'll show you how to fix, because remember, fixing is always possible. Or use a smaller piece of sandpaper and just sand on the inside. If I want to fix this, I will simply take my dirty cloth and I will wipe on these areas where I have applied my antique glaze initially to hide any imperfections. I will leave now for it to dry, and it will be beautiful. Okay, then next, okay, let me just show you like that. Don't focus on that, that's still busy drying. Sanding just reveals the white. You can also use a dry brush technique. So dry brush techniques, something we will focus on in the next, definitely in the next live, is where you create, and we have done it before. Just remember that, I think we use it on the bed pedestal, is where you want to almost create like a sanded look and feel without having to sand. So very little paint on your paintbrush, and you just brush to create a sanded, very subtle paint effect. Okay, next, to paint onto raw wood, and these were alphabet letters from P&A. I'm simply, no primer is required. Take my matte black. So there's matte black, an artist brush, and you simply paint the letters, organize your kitchen menu.
Just to confirm, someone asked, did you glue the bulldog clip onto the wooden block?
Yes, so I glued, the question is, did I glue the bulldog clip onto the wooden block? Yes, I did. I used a glue gun for all the glue work. But if you don't have a glue gun, I have other options also available. I will show you what other glue options you can use so that you don't necessarily need to go and purchase a glue gun. A glue gun is a lovely tool to have because you can fix so many things with it. A glue gun and a Hilti tool are two things I can't go without. A Hilti tool is a tool that assists you with the heating in of nails. You can't hurt yourself, you can't hurt your fingers, you can't swear at anyone. It's a painless nail exercise. Okay, so there's how to paint with an artist brush. Smaller items, you use a smaller tool. So there I've painted. I will wait for this to dry 20 to 40 minutes and just apply a second coat. Although it looks nice and solid, I just love to apply second coats. Okay, let me show you the other glue options. So you can use wood glue. There are various brands available on the market. Wood glue works. You can also use Bostik Clear all-purpose adhesive. You can absolutely use some super glue, but a glue gun is just safe to use. You know it sits, it sticks, it works like a bomb. I'm going to share, before I show you the clips, I'm going to share some exciting news with you. Okay, so South Africa, we have a lovely new magazine on the market. It is distributed by the Home and Tuis team. It's called Tuis Verf Dit and Home Painted. And our beautiful Tinus' terracotta cupboard is on the front cover. We are so extremely proud about this, and there are various Tjhoko Paint products inside this magazine, many Tjhoko products. Please have a look, read through it. It's an absolutely beautiful issue. Then the issue also includes two beautiful, I'm going to show you nicely, Moroccan stencils. It is absolutely beautiful, and stencils that you can also use as inspiration. Today's tutorial as an inspiration to use these stencils. Each issue includes two of these stencils. Then at the back, we are announcing our DIY show with Joe Black. That starts this week, Tuesday, the 20th of April. 8:30 on VIA channel 147. It's exciting. I want to tell you, Joe Black can not only sing and write music, he can Tjhoko as well. So go have a look at how crafty we get together. How to put the blocks up. So mica hardware stores, you will find it if you're in Australia, most probably at Bunnings, sell these clips. So they come with two nails and this triangle wood, hook. It looks like this. And you measure nicely, make sure it's placed exactly in the center. You can see where I've made my mark on where the end of the triangle needs to sit. Place it properly and use a small hammer to knock in the nails. Here a Hilti tool won't help. And then you use the Hilti tool and you knock in nails in your wall, measure nicely, and it will never fall off. Press stick can also be used, but press stick has the tendency to surprise you with a block on the floor. This is us for today. We wish you the most amazing week ahead, filled with positivity, encouragement to be creative, to believe in yourself, to be filled with love and encouragement, and whatever you say or do, make sure it is words to encourage others. We hope you've enjoyed the session. I can't wait to see what menus you put up in your kitchens. I'll be sharing my menu in my kitchen soon with you all, and let us know if you have any questions. Until next week, Thursday, have a fantastic week ahead. Bye-bye.